Extension, Alaji Matthew, presenting Commission and welcome. OGTV, the person is irrespective of every star. Thank you for coming. Okay, the next person, Commissioner for Education, the person irrespective of the Zion. Can you come up? Let's give a clap. We have one of our mommy here. So that in this last days, especially this season, we have people to start our ministry. He was always there for us. For the speech, Pastor, so let's give a clap.
Good afternoon. We have been able to impact excellence into creative writing and publishing over the past 10 years. We have been privileged to do that. Let me start by saying this. Quantum G, that G stands for God. The vision of this publishing company is taken from Deuteronomy 8:18. The Bible says, "For you shall remember the Lord your God, for He is the one that gives you the power to make wealth." You shall remember the Lord your God, for He is the one that has the power to give you wealth. That means God is the quantum that we have, that we need to sustain life. God is our quantum. You know, we have something like quantum physics and quantum this. Quantum means the required amount of something that you need before you can move ahead. So that God, we would have been here. God is our quantum of life, and that is our achievement. That is our decay on anywhere on our document. God is the quantum of life. So I thank God that over the past 10 years, we have published, we have books. Some of them have even been recommended by the Ministry of Education. And we have been published for others too. And we handle editing and publishing. And anything printing in order to impact excellence into creative writing. We publish poems, poetry, we publish storybooks, and many other things like that. Not God, we don't have to where we are. At the same time, I want to lay the emphasis that reading makes a complete man. Reading makes a complete man. We have been trying in our own little way to encourage reading. A robust way, a robust system, a robust attitude of reading. It has been discovered that even most adults, the moment they leave the university, they don't read. A lot of graduates today, a lot of people at the higher grade, many of them, they stop reading the moment they leave school. But while in school, they were able to adapt to the regimental reading system of the school. When they pass, they do them, and that is possible. So they don't keep abreast of what is really, what comes around them. They don't notice when they are about things happening around them. But that is not so, not supposed to be so. There is supposed to be a wholesome reading habit in the life of everybody. We are supposed to read other people's writing. We are supposed to gather knowledge, gather experience from what other people write. And that is what we have been doing. And we are mostly on our table. They are young ones. Most of them are young ones. We believe in tapping them. We believe in tapping the young ones, in tapping their expertise. Don't be surprised what will come out of these young ones. 5 years ago, we published the work of a young boy. He was 19 then, not 23. If you see, it's entitled Morning Storm. And even that time, we are privileged to have the wife of our executive governor who came there as the chief launcher there. And that book, if you see, you will never think that a 19-year-old boy wrote that book. I'm telling you, ever since we having them, the young ones, we are always happy to bring them out. Because as you have seen them sitting down here, they have talent in them. They have the potential in them. So we have been doing everything possible within our midst to make sure the talent in them comes to life. Now, apart from that, I belong to ANA. I'm the vice chairman of ANA Office. ANA is the national body. I'm the vice chairman of the ANA. And that once we have been able to contact, the issue of having access to books by combination of books. So I'm happy today that we are here. I'm happy today for everyone rising up to come and grace this occasion. And I want to state that this is just the beginning. This is the beginning. We'll be doing our utmost best to make sure reading culture is revived, to make sure the young ones are taught, to make sure everyone, including adults, their reading ability is improved. That is our vision. I hope we will continue with that. Thank you for coming. I appreciate it.
That means there is somebody here we need to recognize. We are all important. God bless us for coming in Jesus' name.
We are here to cite 3 different points. We are 1. Send your children to school. Send your children to school. Who will say no for the school? We don't say knowledge is life. True reading learn take its life. Students are there for today. Globally today for tomorrow. The nation will make you today. If I face tomorrow's sorrow. Who will tend the cloth? Who will get the fodder for the donkey? Who will gather the pastor? Who will prepare the amala? Who will marry more educated daughter? Questions challenging educational policy. Lack of education is taking in nature. Giving tomorrow a deadly factor. See, we are students learning to sow. Years to come when they make the start so. A child who knows to do today. Find out tomorrow that nature do. Educate society to youth. Do so to avoid moral youth. Give them the right today. Second point. Pleasure. You shall possess a woman. She is a special treasure. And who provides 9 months and she allows the man is born. And then provide the new for life. And allows the man is dead. The comfort of her back and the tenderness of her lips. The happy woman provides the wife. The golden woman provides the mother. The girl woman provides the granny. And the elderly man assists the woman. No woman knows them. Some betray. A jealous life is a Christian life. The last tradition is old grandpa is dead. Old grandpa is dead. Oh yes, he's dead. Old grandma is also dead. Dead and solo. We have to tell them. Oh yes, tell them. What about my 2 feet? It is also dead. We have to tell them and do it properly. So my brother told me, no more 2 feet. I am out of school. Now for how long my dead is studying? Thank you.
Let's give it clap. And the other person, Nigerian Civil Defense, representing so much. There's another person here, so we are carrying. Are you here? Asaba, I'm not sure about this. Okay.
Is out of your wish because evil communication sure. Follow good manners so sure. The company of your parents keep to drink from their well of wisdom. Many clothes them you may have, but never many rags you will have. Not all from sea in water, and sure food that matters. Hidden in them by men, especially the enemy, called the fishermen. This poem teaches us that we should not associate ourselves with any out stranger, and we should not keep out of our parents' company. We should always follow our parents or elderly advice. Lastly, remember, we should not follow the act of doing what you should think.
Let's give a round of applause. Welcome.
I wouldn't know how to start speaking, but permit me to remove my background because I know the journey of 10 years is a far journey, and I want to appreciate the goodness of God in your life, and I pray that they continue to water you in the name of Jesus. There is a portion in the Bible that of small grace to transcribe them into letters to lead to about what we have been at and a school setting in one of the African countries. And we believe that development of education should be growing from level to level, what we call from the cradle to the word stable. But we could understand other child is what we call those days. What we call debt in those days are not available. So now, what we are expecting from standards like this or like this is that is a downward progression in the challenges of what we are imagining. Now, this is another image telling us the development that we are seeing in this 21st century. You can imagine this is a chalkboard, whereas most developed society, what they use these days is the smart board. And in a society where we have so many things that will showcase the potentials of this society, you can see the roofing of the school. And this is another one. As this one classified are good to go, the students are on this road, the will to sit. I don't know, maybe they are driving the education or they are trying to will the education. But in a situation where we have this one, we can expect that definitely it is a situation of survival of the survivors. The fittest cannot survive in this situation. But those who are able to survive within this climate will be able to progress to the next level. Control of this environment, because the environment is open to distraction. A lot of things will come to distract the students in this place. Now we will imagine this, which is another development that we are seeing. Now this is a classroom setting where students are learning or pupils are learning. Now this one is being taken from one of the messages on WhatsApp, that in a country where state value 36 million naira and senators like this, like that, and to provide a kind of fascinating and interesting classroom climate for the future generations happening. When the society is going on to a mobile learning, that wherever you are in the world, you can actually go into learning through what is called the virtual learning. You sit back in your home, you sit back on your bed, you lie down wherever you are, and you are going on learning. Now, this is another scenario that you can imagine. The smart board, or what we call the shock board, is being attached to the tree. And you could imagine a lot of distraction in between. So as the instructor is giving letter A, see after me, the students or the pupils will be looking at what will happen. Peradventure, many of them will have been there this time of day. A situation whereby the parents are not being given what is due at the end of the month. Or those who engage in trading, inability to market, all this will chronicle into what we are trying to imagine. Now, to start with what we have to discuss, is telling us what is education. Education is a kind of enlightening experiences or an endeavor structurally conducted to achieve either direct or indirect purpose in life. Now, when we look at the two images being projected before now, we will discover that the pictures were not satisfying the interest or the justification of what we call the education, because it's not an enlightening experience, rather it's a disheartening experience. So in a situation where we are having a disheartening experience, what are we expecting? We are expecting failure. What are we expecting? We are expecting the discouragement. And that's the reason why in Nigeria now the slogan is that why are you go schooling? You can actually go on MMM, or you go on Ponche, or you go on the Bitcoin or Betacoin or Madcoin or Yibocoin, whatever we call it. Because we discover that the trend that has happened to our education institution in nation Nigeria as a case study for Africa is not providing a platform for enlightening experience, and therefore it is not an endeavor that is structurally conducted to achieve a purpose. It's leading the students, leading the pupils to the other way of life. The education itself says that it is an enlightenment. It is a kind of development. It's a kind of unification of all the parameters of development. It's a model of creativity, bringing out the genuineness, the uniqueness of being created by the Almighty God. Sorry, I made reference to the Bible. The Bible says that we are wonderfully created in the image of the Almighty God. A God by his own grace, in his own wonderfulness, can create the world where we are. God expects us as little God to be able to project and create things that will come in the realm of the power that has given unto us in the realm of creativity. Education is also talking about the attention, paying attention to the need, and also to do the needful. When the attention is not being paid and the needful has not been done, definitely what we are expecting is what we are seeing. Now, education is to showcase, peradventure before we showcase that, we do what we call develop the talent, catch them young, motivate them. I was impressed when our daddy was talking about a 19-year-old boy wrote a book and being published. You understand? In most of the developed world, what we are seeing is that the school children under age 10, 11, they come out with novels, they come out with short story books, and they are doing that. How many of our children in Nigeria can we lay claim to say that below age 10 they can do all this one? It's a kind of innovation that must be injected into changing and transforming the society that we find ourselves. It's a kind of outstanding performance that will last a test of time. And also it must be committed to the nationality. What we mean by nationality is that what is the need of your own society? Like for instance, in a society where the what is it called, the weather is the other side. When you get to any of the rooms, they are well ventilated with the power to generate heat. And in a society like ours in Africa, where the temperature is so high, it's also expected for us to generate what will calm the nerves of an individual down. Education is being referred to as a kind of process towards facilitating learning, and also the acquisition of knowledge, skills, values, beliefs, habits. It's also a process of receiving or giving systematic instruction, essentially information for intellectual, psychosocial development. Why do we mean saying intellectual? Intellectual is that the cognitive functioning of an individual must be developed to the level that the person must be able to inject the talent and the creativity that he has been endowed with to transform the nationality into what every member of that nation will enjoy. The psychosocial development is that the cultural values, the interest, and also the needs of such society must also come as a result of an education. This might be done in the realm of formal or informal setting, depending on the issue. And we also conclude to say that education is a key that can unlock whatever that needs to be unlocked. And once we have this, we have already got the key. And whatever we use the key to unlock will surely be unlocked. Education makes the wealth of knowledge acquired by an individual meaningful after studying particular subject matter. This one is talking about the tertiary level. Now, it's an expectation that the life lessons that we acquire from our basic schools, whether the the primary, the post-primary, should transform us with a proper understanding. I mean, some couple of years ago, Chief Minister Obe sang a song, and he said, Tebari Alako yóò máa ṣe jẹ́jẹ́, yóò máa ṣe jẹ́jẹ́. What that means that Tebari ta ọ̀tẹ̀rí agbèrò, yóò máa ṣe bí agbèrò, yóò máa ṣe bí ọ̀mùtí. But these days what we see is that we cannot draw a line of demarcation between those who have been to the four walls of the tertiary institutions and those who are maybe somebody just coming from the village. We can't really differentiate between the Okada people. They behave the same way, whether he has the MSc degree or even PhD degree. They behave the same way as someone who has not attended any school at all. Therefore, education can be in form of storytelling, discussion, teaching, training, excursion, experiment, and also a research. And once any of this is being conducted, it will lead to either direct or indirect purpose to be achieved. Education can also be regarded as an entirely lifelong formal or informal process of equipping an individual to be fully aware of his environment and also to exploit, to manage and dominate same for the benefit of himself and the society. The essence of the education that we have is to benefit ourselves and also to benefit our society, and even the generation that are yet unborn to benefit them. There are a lot of philosophical statements that have been given in the 7th century, 8th century, and they are still relevant today. It's because of the ability of those ones to be able to exploit, manage, and dominate the society at that particular point in time. Education is the movement from darkness to light. Whosoever wants to get out of darkness, darkness means poverty, darkness means ignorance, darkness means lack. So when you want to get out of this one, in these days we talk about sickness also, because once you don't have information, there's no way you can preserve yourself or prevent yourself or even go for rehabilitation or remediation. Therefore, education is the movement from darkness to light. Once you have the education, you have already got to the path. I can remember while we were in the primary school, my late dad always tell us that, oh, knowledge is power. Whatever you want to possess in life, possess power. And once you have the power, you have the key to do whatever that is expected of you to do in life. So what is the purpose of education? Why do we say it is essential for us to check the development and to be able to project into what is expected of us to do? Education teaches and prepares children as well as the teenagers to meet the future needs, the future challenges. You understand? Like in the rural setting, in those days when we are at the village, the elders will say that when a small boy or a small girl wants to put hands into fire, you don't say don't put your hands there. So you must acquire the skill, you must learn that fire burns. So when the hands is being spread forth into the fire and burns, then you remove, you have acquired a skill, you have acquired knowledge. So now education is also to enable one to function in society, not only academically, but also to be able to function emotionally, to be able to have what is called social respect for oneself, and also to be able to have what is called spirited filled life, to be able to know your wrong from your right. The elder say the inner police, when you serve someone wrongly, the inner police will tell you that what you have done is wrong. Quickly go back and say, I am sorry, apologize. If one has not been exposed to the realm of education, in the realm of having knowledge of the innate ability of one may not be able to do this one. Also is to economically empower one to be able to meet us challenges. Education also helps to transmit accumulated knowledge, skills and values from one generation to another. Like the transcriptions of the knowledge given to us by the Almighty God into myself, that is a way to move out from darkness. And it's also help to build one in a way to be able to have what is called the share. We have several types of education. I mean, we have the former, the one that takes place in the four walls of classroom, where we should have the good classroom climate. We must have the instructors, we must have the facilities, we must have all sorts of things that will enable the formal education to take place. And we also have informal education, like mother telling the baby, the child, So when you wake up in the morning, you say good morning, ma. You say good morning, sir. Oh, when you want to cook your indomie, oh, you remove the sachet, then you put water on the fire, you do this one. All this comes in the realm of informal. You wash your clothes in this way. You get water, you get buckets, you get this before you wash your clothing. All these are the informal. The non-formal education is what we really clamor for now in Nigeria. Maybe because of the scourge of the Boko Haram or what have you now. Because the essence of non-formal is that education must be following people as they move from one place to another. Education must also be on a mobile journey, moving with people. For instance, those are our friends who always rear cattle from the north part to the south part. So there should be a kind of education that will be following them as they go. Here in Nigeria, it is called the nomadic education, which is necessary for them to be able to have the light and the power so that they will be able to do what is expected of them in the world. Now, for education to be what education should be, we must have what is called the stakeholders. The stakeholders in education, we are talking about people who are majorly concerned about the education industry, and these are the parents of the children. These are the teachers, and these are the children themselves, the students themselves. These are the major. We have some other lesser ones that we classify as the second category. The school administrators, the teachers, the educational researchers, the students in the second order, the parents, family, community members, city councillors, and also the state representative to be able to bring back the feedback and also to transport back the decision onto us. Now, this is the issue that we have at hand now. The educational development in Africa. Now, it's necessary to chronicle the history. The education, in early times, there were no school, such as we know today. And most children are educated at home in Africa. Majority of our grandfathers, grandmothers, they were tutored at home. About 50, 60 years ago, the people learned under the apostleship of their parents. And once they are able to learn certain skills, they will be placed on a particular school and they begin to go. It could be a school created by the elders of the family or the elders of the community, and they begin to teach them something. When you want to hoe, this is the way you handle the hoe. When you want to plant, this is the way you plant. When you want to check the weather before you plant, this is the way you face. All these are the form of education that were in place before what we know as today. In Africa, traditional education existed before the influx of Western education. The traditional African education includes the physical training, eke, ijakadi. All these are form of the training that were being given to people. Also, we have what's called respect for the elders and the peers. When you wake up in the morning, say good morning, Baba Ekaros and Mama Ekaroma. So all these are form of development. And we also have what we call development of body character. Ọmọ tá a bí ire ò gbọdọ̀ rìn dé òru. Ọmọ a bí ire ò gbọdọ̀ ṣe àfọwọ́rá. All things like this come as a form of education to develop a good character in level of the children in those days. And also we have what is called the intellectual training via empowerment skill development by following the elders to the farm. I remember when I was in primary school, when immediately we returned back from the school, our grandfather was some missionaries coming to Africa. Although with this one there was little evidence to show that there's a kind of improvement. But later in some areas we have what is being introduced as education by European administrators or traders who set up schools for African children. And the essence of this one is that they were training them to be able to exploit them the more. But what we know as Western type of education is a kind of education that enables the African society to be introduced into the Western education, into the learning at the four walls of the classroom, having the good climate, having the good instructor, and also having the learning resources that is expected of students to do. But a dimension came recently When the one that came, it started in the 1997. Gradual like that, and it metamorphosed into what we are calling as the Dakar World Forum on Education in 2000. And this came as a result of the kind of declining in the development of education in African society. When the kind of education in African society were being compared with the standard of some other countries in advanced or developed world, it was observed and recognized that the standard of education in Africa is not at par, was not at par with what is expected compared to other places. And now this now came into a kind of agreement and getting a focus into this one as what we call the 6 goals of education for all. We call it education for all. And this try to elaborate what should happen or what is expected and what we are seeing, so that it will enable each of the African countries to be able to project into the future and also do the needful. The goal number 1 says that the early childhood care and education must be expanded. So that must be increased. So it then means that the number of pupils to be enrolled in our pre and primary school must also be what? Must also be increased. So the commitment in terms of the budget allocation must also be put into consideration. There must be increase in this one. Now, within the period of 9 years that this one has been into place, we observe that rather than having a magnitude of increase, what we are seeing now is just about 5%. And that shows that the African society is not a serious society. It's not a society that wants to progress. Now, out of this 5% that we are talking about, if we really begin to operate it in terms of country per country, I'm very sure that Nigeria will have less than maybe 0.001 because of the situation that we find ourselves in now. Goal number 2 talks about there should be free and compulsory primary education, which must be significant towards the increase of the enrollment and the commitment of the society into this one. Also, in the year 2008, this achieved a great way because we had some political commitments, although the political commitments were not being translated into full economic commitment. The nations across the Africa say, okay, the free and compulsory education is being given to all. Now, the question now is that what is the percentage of people enjoying this free for all education? If you take this Abeokuta as a case study now, we will discover that the number of private pre and primary school is in a way as the number of the one government has here. And by this, we should be able to conclude that, oh, we have not done anything. Also with this one, it was reported that 22 countries with the expectation of EFA by year 2015, at that time they were talking in the year 2000 that this should be that every nation in Africa should have what's called 100% of free and compulsory education. We know the result now. Goal number 3, technical and vocational education must also show evidence that there should be increase. But what we are having, technical and vocational education became to dwindle in year 10. So there is no commitment to the development of technical and vocational education. For instance, in a place between 65 and 67% of the education. And that's the reason why such society, they are doing well, they are developing. Now, goal number 4 talks about increasing adult literacy. In African society, what we say about adult literacy here, and teacher training college had up to 240 students on enrollment, and up to 75,000 students gained admission into university as of that year. Now, when we look at the magnitude of the population of the Nigerian society, Nigerian children who are seeking admission into the tertiary institution, we conclude that we are not at the standard if you go by the ratio. As at this time, in 1980, the population of Nigeria then was classified below 100. And we are having 75,000 people gaining admission into university yearly. Now we are having almost 200 or even over 200 million people, and these people who are getting admission into the university these days are lesser in terms of ratio to this one. Then we can say that indeed we are not developing. Now the educational system encompasses 3 different sectors in Nigeria by the policy. We have what is called the basic education, basic, justified that it has to be 9 years. We have what is called the post-basic secondary school for 3 years, and we have the tertiary education between 4 to 6, depending on the course of the study. And what we are expecting by the standard of this education that the society in Nigeria gave to us is that the standard should be like this. So how many of our schools are like this? How many of our schools are like this? 6.73 million elementary school age children in year 2010 did not participate in education at all. They were joined by their parents, making Nigeria the country with the highest number of active individuals, the instructor, to deliver in a setting like this. Look at the classroom. Look at the arrangement. How will she deliver? Look at the school climate. You can see the school climate. Peradventure, this place has no roof. So if rain falls now, definitely you can imagine. The attraction of cold is upon this in a classroom setting. And definitely what we're expecting is that if care is not taken, the mother of this one will say, oh, my child, don't go to school again. What's the essence of going to school and coming back home with infection? What is the essence of going to school and coming back without knowing? Very many of our students in higher institutions these days, I doubt it if they could, I don't want to downgrade anyone. I doubt it if they could sit down and write what we used to call almighty WAEC in those days and pass. Because some couple of time ago, we discovered through the interview for employment that even after having first degree, that very many of these individuals who graduated from the university could not be able to justify the certificate they carry. So state of education in Africa continue. The enrollment keep dropping this way, and the government are doing what they are doing. They are creating schools, and the schools are being created like this. I know very many of us who keep poultry and piggery. We cannot allow this to accommodate our poultry or poultry birds or pigs. So when breeze blow, there is an alarm to project into what and what we should be. Now, if I should ask my little colleagues here now, that would you like to school in this environment, I know they will chorously say yes, because this is a developed world where we have a smart board behind, where we have some attractions in the classroom, where we have the noise control room. The rooms of this are insulated to control the sound, to control distraction. And also you can see a kind of stimulation that these ones were well motivated from home, well motivated by the society, and well motivated by the school climate. Future is being projected. These ones are not going to school with fear that if my father, my mother did not drive his own car to drop me at school, hope I will not enter into the hands of kidnappers. So they are not going to school with a fear that the headmen might drive their cows to come and monitor by the government. And whosoever want to go against this, they are being dealt with. Unlike in the nation Nigeria, where we have the big bags as the criminals, they are the ones who undermine the progress of the standard. So now, to remove the aforementioned barriers as we have talked about, then we know that a lot of things can be done. We need urgent review of the policies. We need to also do some practices to reduce the imbalances and also to avail equal opportunities to all children through education, whether girl or boy, whether a child with disability or whether a child with handicap condition. All this must be done to be able to showcase what we need. Mind you, There is no single solution to challenges or barriers to education in Africa. For the continent to realize its full potential and take advantage of its own human and natural resources for development, there must be what is called holistic reforms of the approach to education. And this one has to be done by the regional organizations. No nation can affirm the correction except it is being projected and duly supervised by the regional organization. And such reform must be tailored positively to suit the specific needs of individual countries. What we need in Nigeria is not the same thing as what they need in Ghana. In Ghana, you are sure if you forgot to lock your door and you are at your place of work, you know nothing will creep into your house. But here in Nigeria, even with the gate padlocked, well locked, you are not even certain whether inflation will not happen to your house. You can park your car and allow the key to be hanging on it, and you come and meet your car in Ghana. But here in Nigeria, the one that is being wheeled together, you are not even sure what will happen thereafter. Which must also be an indication that will enable the society to triumph. This is a classroom setting in one of the nations, the developed nations. We can say this: no child that will be introduced to this one at tertiary institution that will not enjoy. So as the instructor is talking, giving the instruction to the students there, the electronic devices are also projecting what is showing. Wherever you seated, you are sure that you will not be left out. The infrastructure must be well improved. The society that we are today has been as a result of the commitment of some people. And if we want to live a society that is better, be increased. Gender mainstreaming must also be taken into consideration. In some quarters, when we talk about gender mainstreaming, some of us will say, we are not equal. But we are standing on the platform of the law. We say that I gave back to them equally, and I endow them equally, whether man or woman. In a quarter, a woman said that what a man can do, a woman can do it far better. Because the woman can have what is called human face onto so many issues. When daddy beats or spanks the child at home, the child runs to the mother, and the mother says, "Don't do that again, my daughter. Don't do that again, my son. If you don't do that again, your daddy will not beat you." What the mother does is that they do a lot of shouting, and the shouting means that there must be a kind of changes. And once the changes are being effected, then the society will then say this is a good society. There must be a sincere and genuine policy formulation. It is not a policy or a statement that will be politically biased. Oh, because you did not vote for me at this side of the divide, my 4-year term, you will not smile. This side, I got 25%, I'll give you 25% allocation. Where I have 10%, I give them 10%. Oh, because your state is doing PDP or is doing APC, and we are NC up there, you will not see your allocation. It shouldn't be. Complete adherence to the executions of the formulated policy, which help the developed world. They have what is called a strict adherence through the monitoring units to be able to enable people to comply religiously to the standard, and that's what is helping them. There must also be the need for effective research and adequate utilizations of the research outcomes. If there is the nation and